Welcome back, everybody, to the fourth and final round of Wednesday Night Standard.
I wanted to see what Jeff Morris was playing, so we put him on. He's playing Mono Red.
Mono Red versus the Spanish master himself, Chris Lamaster.
See what I did there?
On Jeskai control. So we've got Big Red versus Jeskai control.
Yep.
This is not Mono Red like we saw last round. This is the Biggin.
Oh, it's the Big Red?
This is Big Red playing, I would imagine, I haven't seen his deck list, but Treasure Map, all the way up to Star of Extinction.
Okay.
So I think this has a favorable matchup against, like, the Drake's decks, but I don't think it's particularly good against Jeskai control. We'll see.
Okay.
It does run Karn, and if it can get a Karn out, it can probably ride that pretty far.
Sure. Take it onward.
Yeah, but we do need to resolve it, is the big issue here.
Okay.
And without counters or discard to force it through, that may be the real issue.
So we'll see how they do.
We will see.
Chris is going to be on a mold of 6.
That's fine. Plenty of time to draw into your cards in this matchup. There's not going to be too much of a clock. Although Jeff, I believe, I don't know if they're main deck or sideboard, they typically have a full playset of Legion War Bosses.
Sure. That's a great threat.
In the 75, usually out of the sideboard after everybody takes out their removal. Because they kind of have a...
Okay, so Chris looks at a bunches of lands.
That's fine. That's just what this deck does. Mountain go. Steam vents go. Mountain go. Island go. All right.
Chain Whirler.
Getting a threat out early. This could be a big deal. These Chain Whirlers, in most matchups, tend to be sandbagged a little bit. Because you really want to get value out of their comes into play abilities, and you're not typically looking for a threat super early in the game.
Okay.
But in this case, getting that threat in early is going to hopefully open up some channels to resolve your future threats.
With any luck.
So he's going to swing in here and hope to create a situation where Chris has to use a removal on it. And at that point, he'll try to resolve a different threat.
Okay, here's a treasure map on
Treasure map's good. Doesn't have a fourth land. That's not good. He needs to dig to this fourth land for sure.
I mean, Chris going to come down with his fourth land tapped.
He's got this Nim in hand. He also has a Clarion. And that's exactly what Jeff wanted to happen. He's going to scry and try to find a fourth land. I believe he has a Rekindling Phoenix in hand. All right. Immediate ban. He's digging for that land.
These scries are pretty binary. It's either land or bust.
So you have to try to get the land here. This is important.
All right. There's the fourth land at the top.
Does he have a Karn as well? Oh, no. We're just Legion War Bossing it.
Okay. Yeah, he's going to use that fourth land to activate the... treasure map.
Very nice. I would have personally gone for the Phoenix here. This is a little bit harder to deal with. But now that he's played out a Clarion, the chances of him having another Clarion are lower. So this is a pretty sticky threat as well. And it lets you keep your treasure map momentum going. Not that it's super important, but it does provide a little bit of value. We're going to leave that one on top.
Hey, maybe this mono red deck's one I want to play. A lot of these cards are things that I've enjoyed in the past. All right, so here's another guy. He's going to mentor one of them up. Okay. Fifth land. Let's give... Is he going to give the Phoenix a go here?
I don't know that you. So
You don't want to run into a counterspell for sure.
Yeah, you know what Chris is playing, so you can anticipate that we're likely to see a Niv Mizzet this turn.
Mm-hmm.
And as such, keeping the mana open for Fight with Fire is probably more important.
Well, Fight with Fire is a sorcery, so...
Oh, sure. Is it?
Pretty sure.
All right, so now we're going to get to flip this treasure map.
Yeah, Fight with Fire is a sorcery.
Hmm.
So here's a flipped map.
Oh, it's just a...
I think he's playing the full blacked...
What?
You know the inner sleeves that have the full backs to them?
Oh, the smoke?
Well, no, so they make them in smoke, which is somewhat transparent, and then they make them in black.
Oh, really?
Which is almost completely opaque.
We need to tap mana for that Fight with Fire. Oh, that's game, so... That'll do it.
Too many threats, too quick.
Yeah, we saw the Power of Legion War Boss there. Like I said, they usually come out of the board after decks have taken out their removal, but we saw in that case that it was just fine in the main.
Do you think Chris was hasty with his Clarion, or do you think he had to on that turn so he could develop other things on future turns?
He did not have to. He was probably hasty, but he didn't. It's not like he had anything else to do was the issue. He didn't have any like counter magic or anything to hold up.
So it was just like...
So he made the decision that instead of representing counter magic, that he would just run the Clarion out there and save himself, some points of damage.
So, they're sideboarding, and we have a sideboard card to talk about.
Oh, yes, we do have a sideboard card to talk about.
Well, not a sideboard card. The Detention...
Deputy of Detention.
The Deputy of Detention.
Pretty sweet one. Great against Legion War Bosses everywhere.
Yep.
We've got a 1/3 for 3. It's a detention sphere on a body.
So yeah, you can exile target non-land permanent opponent controls, and then you get all the other ones that share the same name. So if you get a token, you get all the tokens.
Yeah, if you get a token, you get all the tokens. If you get
an Ixalan's Binding, you get all the Ixalan's Bindings.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously great against tokens because they don't come back, but when this thing dies, you typically would get those cards back.
Right.
It's worse than Detention Sphere because it's much easier to kill creatures.
Yes.
However, that is not the case when we're talking about like a tempo deck.
Okay.
In which case this thing is, I think, a more reasonable Reflector Mage.
Okay. Sure.
Not that those two effects have anything in common.
But
Calamari, I like the name. Thanks for the follow. But they're both like these tempo creatures that come down. They have a good effect, but it's not like a game-changing effect, and they're not like super aggressively costed.
Right.
Reflector Mage should have absolutely been like a 1/1 or something like that. That card was just obscene.
Yeah.
And I think Detention or Deputy of Detention being a 1/3 is kind of a nod to that. I feel like if you looked at the design notes for this set and Oath of the Gatewatch, the notes that they had for both of those slots would be pretty similar.
Sure.
Where they're like, all right, we need like a white-blue drop. We want it to be kind of tempo-based, mid-range cost, low to mid-range body.
Right.
With a good effect. And I think they would be similar. But this one, not a human. Unfortunate for all of you modern tribalists.
So I do... Well, I don't think you would play this card over Reflector Mage.
No, but ironically, well, I guess not right. Coincidentally, I think you could play this in the sideboard of some specific decks if it were a human.
Oh, sure.
And really take out some threats, as it were.
Okay. I could see that card being amazing in Legacy against like the show and tell decks. Can you imagine showing them that?
Yeah, but you could just show him like an Angel of Despair or something.
But that one's also like castable at some point as well.
Is it? Is spending 3 mana for that and like it would almost always be the right call to just sandbag it until you draw a Force of Will to pitch it to. But I guess it is something you could pitch to Force of Will.
Right, you could pitch it to Force of Will, and in the like the white like taxes decks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could Aether Violet in where like having an Angel of Despair is like just kind of play. It's a more play one kind of way sideboard card. Like it's only good in that matchup.
Yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. It also cleans up like some Goblins decks go all the way up to Siege Gang. Well, all of them go all the way up to Siege Gang, but
right.
It's a pretty clean answer for those tokens.
Yeah,
it still blocks most of the Gobos.
Yeah.
Although it's blue, so it doesn't block the big one.
Doesn't get those pile drivers. But yeah, being able to discard it to Force Will makes it a real heater.
Yeah, I could see that seeing a little bit of like very fringe legacy play as a sideboard card.
All right. Jeff on the mulligan this time. And Chris with the island to lead us off.
I think we're going to see a turn 1 opt.
Jeff responds with Mountain, and you were correct. The next land to hit the board is going to be a Steam Vents.
So it looks like Chris has multiple board wipes in hand. I don't know if he misread this a little bit, but board wipes are typically not what you want against this mono red deck.
No?
No, so they tend to play like one threat out and then
make you deal with it.
Make you deal with it and then play another one.
Yeah, so here's like, this is like the lightest threat against this Jeskai control deck.
Yeah.
Chain Whirler I don't feel is like a huge problem.
Correct. You're typically going to be going 1 for 1 with these board wipes.
All right. Here's...
And man, this Lava Coil...
Lava Coil and the Treasure Map.
If we get a Phoenix here, yikes. What a missed opportunity this is going to be.
So we went Shields down. Legion War Boss. Here's the token in.
Yeah, I would run the Phoenix out there after seeing the Lava Coil. But he might be under the assumption that Chris's board wipes were taken out. Or at least not brought extras in the form of Cleansing Nova. So
sure. But he definitely has a Cleansing Nova in hand.
Yeah, so they're definitely here.
Let's see if we can make that card matter. Here's Clarion.
So there's Clarion, still a 1 for 1.
Old clearance. There's a clearance sale. Here's the Phoenix. Here's my problem. I don't understand why he's playing like off curve.
Yeah, it would make sense if he had a treasure map out, but he doesn't.
Right.
I think he wanted to get the War Boss in. Man, he drew a Settle Wreckage. How many board wipes does he have in this deck?
All right. And he's just going to have to settle for this.
Oh, he's taking the 4.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Man, is he getting greedy with these board wipes? Because that is not where you want to be here.
Yeah, with the abundance of board... I mean, if he's going to take it, I would just continue to pass. See, like, I would love to resolve, like, a Planeswalker here, or, like, if you resolved a Sarkhan, or if you resolved a Karn.
Yeah. So he's
on
got...
Jeff's side. But other than that, I can't imagine what you want to commit to this board.
So we've got a Daredevil, which is going to let us opt, I guess. Maybe he was afraid of tapping out.
All right. I will Caster Mage you.
I'm going to leave it there and draw. Okay. All right, so we're going to have Niv Mizzet with 1 mana up.
maybe that's his whole reason for not settling. He's going to get Niv Mizzet on the board.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So, I mean, if we're going to drop a Niv Mizzet here, we're basically going shields down. All right,
he chooses not to?
No Niv Mizzet. So maybe now we're going to try to settle for 2.
And Jeff's going to get the City's Blessing here on just lands.
He needs
7,
1
8,
more
9.
permanent. I think he has 2 Fight with Fires in hand.
Would you commit another?
Oh, look at this play from Jeff. I don't know how he has that read, but I love it.
Yeah. Just the readiest. Can we make that word the opposite of greediest? Readiest? You have the readiest play instead of making the greediest play.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
I'm into it. All right.
All right, we have the City's Blessing.
All right, Jeff is blessed, so now he can draw additional cards.
So now we just get to swing.
Man. See, now Chris, I don't know why is he just trying to go long with these treasures and drawing cards?
So it makes sense to keep the treasures up to draw cards.
So he would have to sack one of them to put Niv Mizzet on the
Exactly.
On the
That's
board?
all you need to do, and 1 is well worth it. And if he's not playing Niv Mizzet, why isn't he playing an Enigma Drake?
And why is he untapping if he's trying? You know what I mean? If he's trying to go to draw with the treasure cove and the treasures.
So now, end of turn, we get to draw a card.
Okay.
How far away are you from kicking this Fight with Fire?
It costs 10 total. So 2. 9 total.
So he has the land. I'm just firing that off. Or we can get settled.
No, yeah. Settle me, bro.
You have 2 Fight with Fires. Just run them both out there.
Well, if Chris is really a 10, he only needs 1 of them.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, tap basics. I'm going to fight you with fire.
Yeah, you need exactly negate.
Specifically. So yeah, I'd run 1 at least.
Yeah, you've got 2. There it goes.
All right.
There you have it. Big Red takes it down.
That's interesting. See, Big Red's one of those deck lists where I read it and I'm just like...
Yeah, go check on the other match. Let me know where it's at.
I read his deck list and I'm just like, what is happening here? Like, how does this deck win any games? It doesn't feel like it has any, like... I mean, I guess the synergy of the deck is that it's just asking a new and unique question every turn.
Right.
Every
There's a
time
lot of threats that double as answers, and answers that require specific, or threats that require specific answers.
Yeah.
So,
right. And dealing with like a Rekindling Phoenix is very different than dealing with a Planeswalker,
yes.
which is very different than dealing with, you know, a Legion War Boss. And so you have to have like all these kind of like, it kind of keeps you off balance a little bit. Really weird.
Okay, so our backup match is going into game 3, so they're almost done. So,
So the backup match is playing for a very special prize.
yes. So, starting this year, this is actually the first tournament that you can do this. We're going to be running a semi-annual invitational style tournament.
Yes.
Where to qualify, you need to be a subscriber or a Patreon donor. And then you need to win any weekly constructed event at
GameSwap Mason.
GameSwap Mason. And we're working on like payout and format and stuff like that now, but we decided to go ahead and open up the invitations now. So our table 1 is actually playing a control mirror for the honor of being the first invite to this tournament.
Absolutely.
And again, we'll have more details about this tournament coming up. I think we're planning on running it in like June or July.
Yeah. I'm going to advocate for them to run it after the last set of the Ravnica block is released.
Yeah, we'll see. It'll depend on what kind of format, I think, and how much it depends on that. So we'll see where that goes in terms of just this invitational tournament. But we'll have more details about that in the coming weeks. And just be aware that over the next couple of days, all of those final rounds, presumably, will be playing for that invitation.
For the invitation. So yeah, come on down to GameSwap Mason. Get qualified. Come. I don't know if we're like grandfathered in so people can come, play against us in this invitational, or if I better start hustling.
Just queue. What's wrong with you?
All right, I'll qualify.
You're gonna have to qualify.
Okay, I'll qualify. Saw a little weird shadow under there. All right, that's what we got for tonight. It's been a fun one. I thought we had some really great matches tonight.
We did have some good matches tonight. We had a lot of exciting preview cards to talk about as well. I imagine that continues into next week.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be great. I'm really looking forward to, as this set unveils and rolls out, I feel like we've gotten back to, just as a quick side note, we've gotten back to the sets like rolling out very gently again.
Yes.
It used to be like these big floods of leaks and stuff like that.
Right.
And I've really been enjoying the spoiler season elongated over months.
Yes.
It's been good. So
after next week, tomorrow we're going to have Modern, and then F&M is probably going to be Modern, I think. I don't know how they're doing that anymore. And then we'll be back to Modern on Tuesday. We'll be back next week. But then after next week, we're going to be taking a break, as they're going to have the play testing matches on Wednesdays.
Okay, yeah. We'll have the whole set, so they'll be able to play test it.
Exactly. So we'll have that going.
Those are amazing to watch, too. Justin and Jake do a great job with that.
Yeah, it's going to be Justin, Jake, and Kyle now. And I think Jake is going to be running the stream while Justin and Kyle play, which is great. That's a definite positive.
Yeah, they're quite the brain trust. I know they work together on a lot of the Star City tournaments they play in. So
yeah.
Really excited to see what they come up with.
So we'll see what they come up with. That'll be one to watch, but that's again in 2 weeks. Next week we'll be back for our final broadcast of Guilds of Ravnica Standard Magic.
Should be an amazing one. Join us then. 6:30 every Wednesday night.
Yep.